Hello and welcome to biology class. We are studying topic kingdom Animalia, and so far we have studied lots of phylums in this kingdom. Now and finally we reach to the advanced phylum which is included in kingdom Animalia. Which is that phylum? Phylum Chordata. So we are in today's video we will study the further classification of phylum Chordata. So as per we studied in the last video, as per we studied in the previous video, phylum Chordata is divided into 3 subphylums, and today onwards we will start studying those subphylums. In this video we will study first 2 subphylums, which are those: first subphylum of phylum Chordata, subphylum Urochordata, and second one subphylum Cephalochordata. So Urochordata and Cephalochordata we will study in this video, and in next video onwards we will study vertebrata and the further classification of vertebrata. Got it clear? So let us begin our studies by subphylum Urochordata. Now remember, when we consider this subphylum Urochordata, as it is coming under Chordata, all the characteristics of Chordata are applicable to the Urochordata. Means it will be having coelom, it is a triploblastic, it show bilateral symmetry. All these advanced characteristics are already there, and whatever extra characteristics coming under this Urochordata, those extra characteristics we will study in this video. So as usual, we will take example, and with the help of example we will try to understand characteristics of Urochordata, and then we will make a list of characteristics. So let us begin studying Urochordata by taking an example. Now first example of Urochordata is this rock-like animals called as Herdmania. Now when we consider this Herdmania, this picture is of adult of Herdmania, and the larval stages is little different. This is a diagram of larval stage of Herdmania. Now by taking this first example, we will study characteristics of Urochordata first, and then we will take another examples and study some more characteristics. Now let us look at the picture and try to understand the characteristics of Urochordata. Now the first characteristic of Urochordata, as it is a subphylum of Chordata, obviously it will be having notochord. Okay, so that characteristic is already there. But Uro means a tail. What do you mean by Uro? Uro means tail. Okay, chord means rod. Chord means what? Rod. And here rod indicates notochord. What rod indicates? Notochord. And Atta means group. Atta means what? Group. So Urochordata, it is a group of animals which have notochord in their tail region. See, Urochordata is a group of animals which have notochord at their tail region. Okay, so notochord at tail. At tail region, or notochord at tail. Clear about it? So all the animals, okay, which have notochord only in their tail region coming under Urochordata. So this is the first and very important characteristic of Urochordata. Now next characteristic, just pay attention on these rock-like animals. Okay, now these animals look like rock and they are marine animals. Okay, they are always marine, they stay in the seawater. Okay, so when we consider them, they look like rock, but this covering, their body covering, is not a hard covering. It is not a soft or not a hard covering. It is a normal covering. Means if you touch these animals, you won't feel that rocky feel. Okay, they are comparatively soft, and this covering is made up of a special carbohydrate, and this covering is basically called as a tunicin. What does it call? Tunicin. Okay, and this tunicin is kind of carbohydrate. It is a kind of carbohydrate. Okay, and as the animals have tunicin as a covering, they are called as tunicates. What does animals are called as? Tunicates. See, I am repeating. Animals, adult animals specifically, are having covering around it. That covering is a leathery covering. Okay, it is not a very hard covering, and that covering is called as a tunicin. It is made up of a carbohydrate. Tunicin itself is a carbohydrate, and as the animals are having covering of tunicin, the animals are called as tunicates. So tunicates are the animals. So Urochordata are the tunicates. Got it? Clear about it? Two characteristics are clear. Then let us shift to the third characteristic. Now just see some part of the animal. Now you will find these small pores on the animals. Agree? All the different Urochordata show these pores. Now these pores are inside the pores. There are gill slits. What is there inside the pore? Gill slits. So these small pores are called as branchial baskets. What does they are called as? Branchial baskets. Now why branchial baskets? Branchia is for gills. Branchial baskets. So all the Urochordata are having the pores basically for respiration called as branchial baskets. Clear about it? Now let us go shift to the next characteristic. Now if you see the larval stage of this, see it's too different from one another. Adult stage totally look different than that of the larval stage. If you pay attention on the larva show a very long tail, okay, and basically this notochord was present only in the larval stages and tail of the larva. But when this larva become adult, it lose that notochord. Understanding? So notochord present only in the larval stages, only in the tail of the larval stages, but when this larva undergo metamorphosis and form adult, this notochord is lost. Okay. Then secondly, this is one thing about larva and adult. Now second thing, if you consider this larva, it is a free swimming larva. It can swim in the ocean and go wherever it wants. But when we consider this adult, they are rock like, they are attached to the substratum, they are sedentary life. So when we see larva look little advanced as compared to adult. See, larva is advanced as compared to adults. Now when larva undergo metamorphosis and form adult, that time it lose its advanced characteristic like swimming ability, advanced characteristic. When it become adult, it lose that swimming ability. Then another thing is presence of notochord, advanced characteristic. But when it become adult, it lose that notochord. So larva is advanced as compared to adult. So such a metamorphosis is called as retrogressive metamorphosis. What does it call? Retrogressive metamorphosis. Retrogressive metamorphosis. So retrogressive metamorphosis is the special characteristic or is a peculiar characteristic of Urochordata. Always in Urochordata, larval stages are advanced as compared to the adult. Okay, clear about it? So these are the few things you need to remember about the Urochordata. Okay, and retrogressive metamorphosis, presence of notochord in the tail region, this branchial basket and tunicates are few important things you need to remember. Let us see some picture of few more examples and we'll go and list the characteristic of Urochordata. Now another example of Urochordata is this Botrytis. Now Botrytis is the animal which is down to this. It is a picture from the upper view. So here if you see picture from your textbook also, you will find a flower like appearance above the animal, and this is that. and this is that tunicin of the animal. Now tunicin in this case is also called as a test. Tunicin is also called as test. Tunicin is also called as test. Okay, in Herdmania also it can be called as a test. Remember this. Now this flower-like things on the above the animal are nothing but branchial baskets. So all these end of the flowers, at the center of the flower there is a opening. Okay, and this is nothing but branchial basket. Okay, understanding? Clear about it? This is another example of Urochordata. It is nothing but Doliolum. Now Doliolum is very beautiful and transparent animal. It is free swimming always, and it captures food. It is omnivorous animal. Understanding? So let us enlist characteristics of Urochordata. Subphylum Urochordata. First characteristic is Uro means tail and chorda means rod, ata means group. So it is a group of animals which is having notochord in the tail region. Okay, and then it show the presence of central nervous system, but central nervous system is not very advanced and it is not divided into brain and the spinal cord. But as it is showing retrogressive metamorphosis, after metamorphosis adult lose this CNS, lose this central nervous system. So the covering of the body is called as tunicin and the animal are called as tunicates. The next characteristic is gill slits are called as branchial baskets. Okay, then they show retrogressive metamorphosis, and these are mostly marine in habitat and they are filter feeder animals. So examples are Herdmania. Herdmania is also called as sea squirt. Got it? Clear about it? So this is all about Urochordata. So let us go and study Cephalochordata. It is also having few characteristics to study. So let us begin with the Cephalochordata. The next subphylum is subphylum Cephalochordata. Now the only familiar example of this Cephalochordata is this Amphioxus. The animal name is Amphioxus. Commonly it is also called as lancelet. Okay. Now when you see this Amphioxus under microscope, you see like this, but otherwise it is the animal like this. See, it is a transparent animal which is hardly 5 centimeter in length, and it is a fish-like animal staying in the marine water. But when we see this animal under microscope, it looks something like this. When you see this picture in your laboratory, you will see pink colored slide, and under that slide you will see something like this animal. Now when we consider this Amphioxus, it is a common example of Cephalochordata. Now as it is after Urochordata, it is little advanced as compared to Urochordata. Now this is the animal who possesses notochord throughout the life, okay, as well as from tail to the head region. Okay, so cephala means head. So here notochord is even present in the head region as well as throughout their life. Now these animals show well developed central nervous system. It is having brain, spinal cord, etc., etc. Okay. Now these animals, as I told you, these are also marine animals and they do respiration with the help of gills, and gills are basically located over here, and this region is called as a pharynx region. This region is called as pharynx region, and here gills are also called as branchial baskets again. Gills are called as branchial baskets. See, in Urochordata also gills are called as branchial baskets, but they are location wise they are different, and here they are location wise different. Understanding? Then another thing you need to remember about Cephalochordata, specifically in Amphioxus, that it is a filter feeder animal. Here we cannot see properly, but here it is having cilia like projections like this, and with the help of this it captures the food. Basically it is a marine animal and stay at the floor of the ocean. Okay, it is a fossorial animal. It remain buried inside at the floor of the ocean and capture its food by this cilia like projections. Understanding? It is a very small fish like animal. Now next thing you need to remember about this Amphioxus as well as all cephalochordates, that these are always unisexual animals. So male and female, two different animals. And fertilization usually takes place internal fertilization. Internal fertilization takes place inside the body of female, and development is always indirect. There are larval stages and free swimming larval stages, very advanced larval stages. Okay, so this is all about cephalochordata. And few points one more thing you need to understand about both urochordata and cephalochordata that I'll teach you at the end of this video. First, let us make a list of characteristics of cephalochordata. Now for subphylum Cephalochordata, first characteristic, cephalo means cephala indicates head. Again, animals which are having, or a group of animals which are having notochord at the head region or basically throughout their body. Then next thing is central nervous system is not differentiated as brain and spinal cord, but very well developed central nervous system. Then gills are called as branchial baskets again. Tail is there throughout their life, and they are marine and fossorial animals. So reproduction is, they are unisexual animals. There is no sexual dimorphism. Both male and female look similar. Fertilization takes place internal fertilization. Development is indirect and involve free swimming larva. Now one more thing, as I told you, a few terms you need to remember about urochordata and cephalochordata. One term that both of them, that is urochordata as well as cephalochordata, are called as protochordates. What is the term? Remember, it is very important from your entrance point of view. Both urochordata as well as cephalochordata are called as protochordates. Now proto means primitive, so they are primitive chordates. Why they are protochordates? Because they are primitive chordates, and vertebrata are considered as advanced chordates. We will study them. Then they are having one more name called as acranites. Means means no. Means what? No. And cranite indicate cranium. Cranium means brain box. Okay, our brain is placed in a box called as cranium. So whenever this cranium is absent, brain box is absent, then those are called as acranites. So urochordata and cephalochordata, acranites. And even they are called as non-vertebrate chordates. Means they are having notochord, that's why they are chordates, but they are not having vertebral column. So they are non-vertebrate chordates, urochordata and cephalochordata. Three terms, remember properly: protochordate, acranite and non-vertebrate chordates. Very, very important terms. Okay, clear about it? So this is all about two subphylums of chordata, urochordata and cephalochordata. So this is all about urochordata and cephalochordata. So in the next video we will learn vertebrata. Till then, goodbye, take care.